Hello friends and welcome, I'm Mike Birmingham, and this week it's a COVID Christmas Miscellany where we ask who wrote that letter to Santa, where did our most familiar Christmas customs come from, will there be a white Christmas, and we hear some quotes of peace from Calvin Coolidge and Albert Reynolds. First to our brain teaser though, if it takes 5 elves, 5 minutes to make 5 dolls, how long would it take 100 elves to make 100 dolls? Have a think, answer to come at the end. A vintage picture now. Back to 1926 for this one, showing a line of children posting their letters to Santa Claus. The picture was taken of children attending the Red Lion Street School in London, England. And as you can see, they're all very well behaved and nice orderly line as well as they send off their wishes. And what did people wish for in 1926? Things like a doll, a game, wooden toys. They were definitely simpler times than now. Back also to some nostalgia from Ireland. From irishcentral.com, a letter addressed to Santa Claus over a century ago. This amazing treasure gives us an insight into the Christmas spirit and life in the early part of the 1900s, but 5 years before the 1916 Rising. The letter, written by the Howard family siblings to Father Christmas in 1911, was found in a Terenure house when builder John Byrne came across the handwritten note on a shelf behind the fireplace. The handwritten note became slightly scorched over the years, naturally enough, but the majority of the contents of the letter could still be read. The brother and sister wrote it on Christmas Eve, wishing good luck to Santa and asking him for a baby doll, also a waterproof with a hood, a pair of gloves, a toffee apple, a gold penny, a silver sixpence, and a long toffee, wrote Hannah Howard, known as Annie. She was then 10 and would celebrate her birthday at Christmas Day itself and become 11. Well, that letter was placed in the chimney of the fireplace in the front bedroom so that Father Christmas would intercept it on his way down the chimney as he came into the house in the early hours of the morning. At the time, fireplaces were made of brick with a shelf on either side. The letter was found in one of those shelves. On reading an article about the letter in the Irish Times newspaper, a man living in Bangor, County Down, quickly recognised the young girl writing the letter as his mother and Uncle Alfred. Victor Bartlam says he didn't realise the significance of the tale at first as his wife read it to him. He didn't even make the connection to his late mother at first, not even when they referred to the address in Terenure. But it was only when Hannah's name was mentioned that Victor realised the role his mother had played in the story. "I simply couldn't believe it. I never knew about the letter. I didn't even know it existed," he said. So, a happy ending after all those years. And now to Question of the Week. More like questions of the week because it's Christmas time and we look to the origins of many of our Christmas customs. Carols first of all. The tradition of Christmas carolling began as an Old English custom originally called wassailing and was a toast to long life. St. Francis of Assisi was the person who began the custom of singing Christmas carols in church in the 13th century. Christmas was originally referred to as Christes Mass, literally meaning Christmas Mass. Now, some people refer to the season with the letter X, as in Xmas or Xmas. Well, the X in Xmas, believe it or not, is a Greek abbreviation for Jesus Christ. Dinner, the traditional Christmas dinner or Christmas meal before turkey, what was it? Well, back in the day, and especially in the UK, you would be feasting on mustard and a pig's head. Yikes. What about movies? Highest grossing of all time. Well, they're all recent. Blockbusters, you see. Number 1, The Grinch with Jim Carrey. Number 2, Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin. Number 3, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Again, Jim Carrey. And guess who's at number 4? Oh, it's Jim Carrey in a wonderful little movie called A Christmas Carol. Of course, The Dickens Tale. This one a 3D animated version from 2009. For me, though, Willy Wonka, The Marx Brothers in Duck Soup, and It's a Wonderful Life. Even the movie set on Christmas Eve in 1988 in Nakatomi Plaza. Yes, Die Hard with Bruce Willis as John McClane and Alan Rickman as the deliciously evil Hans Gruber hold a special place for me. Each to their own, I say. Answers on a postcard as to what your favourite movie is to the aptly titled Holly McClane. Only joking. You can leave a comment below if you'd like to. Thanks so much. What about the word Noel? Well, the first Noel, or the Noel word entered the English language in the 1300s. It originated from the Latin word natalis, which means day of birth. And Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Well, good old Rudolph was originally conceived as a department store gimmick, promotional gimmick. The department store was called Montgomery Ward, and they wanted to get kids buying more colouring books. Rudolph was brought to life that way. And he didn't even have a red nose. Red noses at the time were a sign of chronic alcoholism, and the store, being a family store, didn't want to pursue that avenue. Songs. Jingle Bells. This well-known Christmas favourite, written by James Pierpont, was originally called One Horse Open Sleigh. The best-selling Christmas song ever is White Christmas by Bing Crosby and written by Irving Berlin. First featured in a 1942 movie called Holiday Inn, later in 1946, Blue Skies, and then in 1954's White Christmas. Santa Claus, what about the man, the great man himself? Well, the look of Santa Claus that we have today was created in an 1804 meeting of the New York Historical Society, where member John Pintard handed out wooden cutouts of jolly old Saint Nick in front of stockings filled with toys. Though Santa Claus has worn blue and white and green in the past, his traditional red suit came from a 1930s advert by Coca-Cola. And the sleigh. Well, the image of Santa flying in a sleigh started in 1819, dreamt up by the same author who created the Headless Horseman. That was Washington Irving. Stockings? It's a Dutch tradition. They would leave shoes full of food for St. Nicholas's donkey, and the story goes he would leave gifts in return. 12th century nuns, they left socks full of nuts, fruit and tangerines at the doors of the poor. This is where the tradition of putting tangerines in stockings came from. And there's also the story of a poor man with 3 daughters who couldn't afford the traditional dowry to have them married. One night, it seems, St. Nicholas dropped a bag of gold down the man's chimney so that his oldest daughter would be able to get married, and the bag fell into a stocking that was drying by the fire. I suppose that is where we have the current version of those bags of gold coins, chocolate coins, or they're wrapped in silver as well, that would be placed into Christmas stockings. Christmas tree? First evidence of Christmas tree back in a pamphlet dating to 1570. There are over 60 million of them grown every single year in Europe. The tallest one was ever seen in Northgate Shopping Centre in Seattle, Washington, USA in 1950. It was 67 metres high, that's about 221 feet. It had 3,600 Christmas lights on it, and it could be seen for a kilometre away. The Christmas wreath? Well, this Christmas wreath is symbolic of Jesus, the red berries symbolising his blood, and the holly representing his crown of thorns. Finally, will there be a White Christmas in Ireland? According to Met-Era data released a few years ago, there have been 17 days since modern monitoring began in 1961, where Met-Era stations have recorded countrywide snow on Christmas Day. But when you classified a snow lying on the ground at 9 a.m. in the morning on Christmas Day, you're down to 9. The last one was in 2010. This year, it doesn't look like we're going to get snow, but January and February are traditional times that we may see snowy landscapes, so we've that to look forward to. The answer to our brain teaser: if it takes 5 elves 5 minutes to make 5 dolls, how long will it take 100 elves to make 100 dolls? Well, if it takes 1 elf 5 minutes to make 1 doll, it should take 100 elves making 100 dolls, you guessed it, 5 minutes. The final word, quote or affirmation, coming from first Calvin Coolidge. Christmas is not a time or season, but a state of mind. To cherish peace and goodwill, to be plenteous in mercy, is to have the real spirit of Christmas. And from Albert Reynolds, I call on everybody of goodwill in Ireland and abroad to join now in ensuring that the beginning of peace becomes a reality before this year is out. Let us together open a new era in our history. So a couple of Christmas interesting bits. I hope you found of interest as well. I do hope you have a safe and indeed a nice Christmas. Be there for one another, give each other phone calls and connect as always. From myself, Mike Birmingham, may I wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas and bye for now.
From the home studio of Michael Birmingham,